around the 4 components. The first component is the concept itself. The second component is the real game that we are presenting. Number 3, there is something called diversified economy and the importance of diversification in the economy for the state of Qatar and the GCC in general. And will provide the public policy truth and goals as a platform for Qatar, for region, and the rest of the world. The first concept that we like to mention is the sustainability pillar. The 3 main pillars that is introduced by the United Nations. The first part is called the environmental pillar, which is focusing on the environment and the climate change, and in 2 parts. The biodiversity. And the second one is called the soft pillar of sustainability, or the soft concept, which focus on economics and social. The second part is the economy. The second part is for the economy is to guarantee the future, the balance between the current and the future generation. The third part is called the society part, focusing at the different levels in the society, micro, meso, macro, regional, and globally as well. So we need to have a continuous balance between the nature and our needs. This is the concept of sustainability, a continuation of balance between the nature and the human needs in general. My definition for the perennial gale is as follows. It comes from Schumpeter of 1940 when he worked at Harvard University. My concept for perennial gale for our current generation is it is a process of industrial change or mutation that continuously make a revolution toward a sustainability in general at each level in the economy, micro, meso, macro, and merge that with the existing level of the linear economies that we live, the business linear models that we live. Take, make, use, and dispose. And build a new one is called circular economy, which is from 3R to 5R. Reduce, use, remove, and I call the fourth part is upcycling, not recycling. This is my concept for the perennial gale. In Arabic, it's called العاصفة لبناء نظام جديد يقوم على التنمية المستدامة. العاصفة. Here is a map of or the history of this concept, the sustainable development and the perennial gale. It started in 1798 by someone called Malthus theorem for population and food. Then in 1833, we are here. In 1833, Lloyd introduced a concept in ecology and economics. It's called the common. In 1960, there is a new concept called the tragedy of the common. It's economics and ecology term. Then in 1983, United Nations introduced a very important concept. It's called sustainable development. And here we are. From that date, the people started to talk about sustainability and the environment in general. This is the original theory of sustainability and the tragedy of the common. Then, in 2008, in Qatar, we adopted something Qatar National Vision, which is totally consistent with the sustainable development in general, which is focusing on human, social, economic, and environmental issues to have a well-being, welfare for our economy and for our region. We might be the leader in this regard if we have a theme like the success that we have in FIFA 2022. Then there is a shock in 2018 when United States of America withdrew from the Paris Agreement, when they initiate the 17 SDG goal. There was a shock. Then Qatar adopted something called Qatar National Climate Change Strategy and Action Plan to reduce CO2 emission by 25%, which is an ambitious goal. Where is the science, R&D, that we are doing at College of Business at Qatar University and College of Engineering nowadays? Here is if we move according to the standard model, the linear model. Here is the fossil fuel that dominate the world at the moment, and scientists know the importance of this diagram. Now we focus on oil, natural gas, and coal. They are important. In 2050, here is the diagram. People will count in biodiversity, in bioenergy, electricity from PV, and blue ammonia and the blue hydrogen. And this is what we are doing now at Qatar University. We are building a group and research group for H2 transition to by 2050 in Qatar for blue hydrogen. Here is the opportunity for economic diversification in general around the globe, and the importance of investing in SDG. Based on the United States studies, they stated that there is around $12 trillion opportunities if we invest in sustainable development goals. And they are distributed based on the following: 35% in the energy sector, like renewable energy specifically. Number two, 31% investing in cities, like smart cities, and some of our researchers here at Qatar University have some grants about smart cities through QNRF. 19% is investment in food and agriculture. This is opportunities if we invest in sustainable development goal. Now, here is our model and my research group working in the following, and to convert the research and from the lab into the industry and to have impact, like what Dr. Kalsom said. We need to have an impact, and here is what we are doing in Qatar. If we take a look for the three main pillars, number one, environment, economy, and social. We find the channels through each pillar. Number one, mitigation and adaptation to protect our environment. Here, we have two important groups at Qatar University. Group number one, working in hydrogen. Dr. Fadwa is the lead of hydrogen transition group at Qatar University. And we are trying to engage natural gas and convert it into blue hydrogen. This is the first part that we are doing at Qatar University. The second group that we are framing at Qatar University and CARI, Hamad bin Khalifa University, College of Business, Gas Processing Center, is called Carbon Capture and Utilization and Storage Group. It's a real work. It's a science and technology as well. We are producing something called carbon DAC, Carbon Capture and Utilization DAC. We are trying to produce DAC technology, direct air capturing technology, in cooperation with Hamad bin Khalifa University. And they will be established a startup soon for this purpose. The second part of the carbon capture and utilization group is called formic acid. After we got the carbon from the air, we convert it into actual product. It's called formic acid. And part of Hamad bin Khalifa University with us today is to do a business for formic acid. Instead of importing it from outside, we feed it from, or we produce here in Qatar. The third group inside this project is called carbon mechanism that we are framing here at Qatar University, and will be flowered for the region and for the rest of the world. We are designing the algorithm for carbon trading in general. So this is the first part. The second part is that for the economy, we need to adopt some concepts called circular economy. And this should be done at different levels. When we talk in economics, we talk about different levels. Household, business, we call that micro level. Then sector level, to cover the whole sector, agriculture, fuels, or agriculture, industry, and the rest of the sector, commercials and energy and so on. And the third one, at the national level, prepare the appropriate policy to cover all of that. So you can read all of those contents. Number one, pillars. Second, channels. Third, Dr. Dayoub, is called enablers. We need something to enable us to do so. So those are the contents. Circular economy based on the MIT professional education cannot be done without circular economy. We need to adopt that. Here is the perennial gate. We need a store and innovation and technology based on Schumpeter work in 1940 to have the entrepreneur mindset at different level to achieve such this stuff. We call this is the perennial gate. For hydrogen, we need great work from hydrogen group with collaboration with the industry. And here, we need to work more at Qatar in power photovoltaic, which is the solar energy. We need to invest more in waste management, specifically solid waste, and adopt new concepts of upcycling based on the previous research. Before we worked in the energy conservation in Qatar since 2015, I have 2 grants to change the behavior of the people in electricity and water. We find very important outcome from this research that help in the for the public policy in general. Here is a platform for the perennial gate that we have designed with my colleagues. Let us go to from the outer circle. The outer circle, we need, Schumpeter called it creative destruction. No, I call it, for our new model, it's creative construction, because we are building based on our existing model. We cannot destroy the previous one. We need to build on the existing one to attract the policymaker with us. We cannot destroy everything. So I call it creative construction for the perennial gate. Here, we need a public policy and behavioral change. We have each components in our studies and research and development at Qatar University. Number 2, the second circle, innovation policy based on Schumpeter work in economic theory, and we need market making and the circular economy concept. This is a pillar for sustainability in general. Then we have the tools inside the same circle, and this is what we are designing. We have something called emission trading system, adopted, but it is not successful by the United Nations. Number 2, we have the credit market, carbon credit, carbon tax, research and development, then incentives. This is the components for the private sector, for the public policy, if we like to do something impactful. Now, where is the entrepreneur in this case? The first word of entrepreneur comes from Schumpeter's work, 1930, 1940, 1950. This is the first word that comes in Schumpeter's work, one of the greatest economists in the world, and died when he was at Harvard University. All right? This is the entrepreneur concept. In fact, we need to change that, and we add our concepts. So we need something called the entrepreneurial state. Should be part. Number 2, we have official entrepreneurs. We need to change. We need to think out of the box. Each manager can be an entrepreneur. Each minister can be an entrepreneur within his